Hey, old Plattman here. Hello, puppet. So, I want to do a review about The Subtle Knife, which is the second book in the Golden Compass series, which is actually not called the Golden Compass series, it's called His Dark Materials series. I don't think I've ever read the second one. I don't think I read the first one until very recently, did a review about it. And I'm very much looking forward to watching the show. So I'm going to finish all three of the books and then get started on it. Here's what's interesting. I feel almost as if the second book is, it's not quite a copy-paste, because it isn't that at all. So to say it's not quite a copy-paste, it's not. But what's interesting to me is the format feels very reminiscent of the first one. Now, it does continue the story, which is good, but in my opinion, it's this weird thing where it's like you're making progress, but it's almost like it's on a treadmill, where, okay, we're going forward on this story and things are happening and we're getting new information, but in actuality, we haven't really got to our point yet. And it was kind of annoying. I realized about halfway through that our objective to get to this point, our objective where I thought we were going to go, where I thought we were going to end up, and about halfway through, I was like, we're not going to end up there at all. This is fun. Wonderful. So, my criticism aside, it's good. It's objectively good. It expands and expounds on the universe and the world and the rules and certain stuff. And this is clearly a book meant for children, for you to read to your kids, to read with your kids, and talk about the different moral quandaries and questions and thought processes that come about. And I very much look forward to reading it with my kid and talking about those things. But it's, not something until they're like 8 or 10 or something where they're really going to understand. I mean, right now, my wife and I are listening to Chronicles of Narnia and Baby's in the Womb, so you can start early, I suppose. Baby is going to be hearing what's going on, but it's not quite the same. So generally speaking, I liked it. I liked the characters. I thought there was some really slick moments about it that were really enjoyable, that were kind of like adult jokes, adult moments that I thought well played. But in general, it's not my favorite book series. I'm doing it to do it so I can watch His Dark Materials, the TV show on HBO. And I'm hoping that the crescendo is awesome. But I will say there is a subtle thing that I really like. I guess it's not subtle because it's the overarching point is the authority versus the good guys. The good guys is like freedom and just kind of letting things lie, and like this concept of freedom of thought, freedom of religion, freedom of movement, and letting nature and organic processes happen. It doesn't really talk about that. I'm kind of over explaining it. It's really just the authority, which is this religious doctrine that wants power and control and tell people what to do. And this other entity, which is kind of like the old school boys that don't really have the same type of power, but believe in the value of human life and the freedom to choose and freedom of religious practice. And so in a way, I admire this kind of good versus evil conflict and the battle that ensues. I think it's very interesting. Sometimes it's a bit heavy-handed, but I also interestingly think that he did a very good job of making it kind of subtle and condensed, because it's through the lens of these two kids. And in this one, instead of Lyra being the focus, she is a core component of it. You could say she's a very strong supporting character. The main character is this other kid who doesn't have like a little pet demon. It's on the inside, which is just like, oh, what? And he's basically from our world, and not from a fantasy perspective of our world, but like our world, circa, I think, 50, 100 years ago. And it's very interesting what kind of problems he's interacting with and how he interacts with the world versus how Lyra interacts with the world and how they interact together and the situations that they are in. And I like it. I like it a lot. And it was interesting. This is not relevant, but I thought it was kind of interesting because I know his Dark Materials is going to do this effectively. I was reading or listening to Chronicles of Narnia, the Magician's Nephew, the prequel, if you will. And I was thinking, I was like, how interesting would it be if these two characters were young adults, like 20, 25, even 30-year-olds? How would they react in this circumstance? Now, mind you, as I'm thinking about it, this has been done. It Part 2, frankly, I haven't seen It Part 1 or It Part 2, so whatever. But, his Dark Materials, the TV show, clearly didn't go with, hey, we're going to have a 12-year-old girl running around doing things. They went with some girl who's like 17 or whatever. So I think that's because they didn't want to hire a kid and pay for that expense and that difficulty of shooting and yada, yada, yada. It's easier to hire someone who's 20 to look younger. So that being said, I don't know. I haven't seen the show. I can't see if they're going to do that. But I did think it would be kind of an interesting concept with some of these stories. You can't obviously do it with Harry Potter, but in a weird way you could do it with like Harry Potter in college, that type of thing, magicians in college. I just thought it'd be an interesting thing if you have a circumstance that you get in a kid's book and how they deal with it. And then how would you have other people deal with it? And I'll leave you with this because I told my wife about it and she kind of was like, that's not really an idea, honey. And in all fairness, there's some truth to that. But what I was thinking about was in the XXX movie with Vin Diesel, there was this, they're trying to get people to be this like special agent who is grungy and unusual. And so in the process of doing that, they get these people and they put them through one test, and if they pass that, then they put them in another test, and then, if whoever, process of elimination. And in the second test, I thought it was rather interesting because they put him in the middle of this Colombian cocaine field. And one guy almost immediately starts grabbing leaves, cocaine leaves or whatever. I don't understand the plant and how that works. Because he's like, we're going to be rich, man, and you can clearly tell that he's a guy who consumes the drug and is well acquainted with the value and all these things. And his immediate go-to is, how do I take advantage of the situation, make money, and me. And our main character, Vin Diesel, doesn't do that. He kind of takes stock of his situation and his environments and how he deals with the scenario. And I felt like, in a weird way, that was what I was thinking about, was like showing different iterations of how, because as an adult, think about, even on a constant basis, like, hey, how should I have done this situation differently? Or what should I do differently? Or how would I act in a situation? If there's a fire, would I go and try and save such and such person? I don't know. And you can't really know. So anyhow, that was it. I thought it'd be interesting just as a thought experiment. So I'm going to do some more reviews right now. I love you all. Happy New Year's and Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays as well. And I love you all. Please like, subscribe. Feel free to comment because I do read the comments. And yeah, if you have any books you'd like me to read or TV shows you'd like me to watch, let me know. Thanks. Bye now. Bye.